Hello, my name is Robert Larson. I'm an attorney and I'm also the owner of the Larson Law Office in Mesa, Arizona. I focus mostly on family law, estate planning, and personal injury cases. And today I wanted to talk about a topic that comes up a lot in family court, and that is when you have two parents who share custody and one of them wants to move out of state. What can you do? Is it possible? And in Arizona, the answer is yes, it is possible, but it is difficult. And one thing to keep in mind is even though I'm talking about moving to a different state, the same rules apply if one parent wants to move more than 100 miles away within the state. So if you want to move from Tucson to Flagstaff or from Phoenix to Yuma or whatever, even though it's in the same state, it's going to be treated the same as an out of state relocation request. So first of all, like I said, it is possible that you can move with your children out of state, but the law does make it difficult. And the reason why it's difficult is if you move to a different state, then obviously the other parent is going to have less time with the children, assuming that the children go with you. And of course, if you're just moving to another state without the children, you don't need court permission or anything. You can just go, and you may have to adjust your parenting plan because of the fact that you no longer live close to each other, but you don't need any permission for yourself to move. The only thing that requires permission is to be able to move your children. And so Arizona law does have a procedure for that, and it's specified in the family court statutes. And it basically says that if you want to move to a different state or more than 100 miles, then you need to notify the other parent ahead of time and give them adequate notice so that they can object. And you can look up the statute, and maybe I'll post the statute number in the description of this video so that you can look it up if you want. But I don't want to tell you exactly how to do that because this is not legal advice. It's just for information purposes. But I'll post the statute. That way you can look it up yourselves. But basically the statute says that you have to give the other parent notice of your intention to move the children out of state well enough in advance that they have an opportunity to object. Now, if they don't object and you follow the procedures for notifying them, then basically they lose their opportunity to object. So it could be that they truly don't object, or it could be that they just neglect to respond, and therefore you should be able to move with your children without a problem because the other parent didn't object in time. Typically, what will happen though is the other parent will say they don't agree, or they will file something in court making it very clear that they don't agree. And so if that happens, then you have a contested situation where you want to move the children somewhere and the other parent does not agree and you're in court for that. There's specific things that you need to file to relocate the children. So you have to file a specific petition asking for the court to give you permission to take the children where you want to go. And so I've seen many situations where people didn't follow this procedure. And at first it may seem like they're getting away with it because they moved to another state, and it seems like there's no consequence to it at first. But when you get into court and the judge finds out that you moved the children without consent of the other parent and without court permission, then you're going to be facing a lot of trouble. I've seen some really bad situations when it gets to that point. And usually the children are ordered to be returned to Arizona. And sometimes if parents are non-compliant, an arrest warrant will be issued for them. And so it can get pretty bad if you don't follow those procedures. So let's say, assume you do follow the procedures, but there's a disagreement. How is this going to be resolved? Well, one option is you can come to an agreement when it comes to mediation. But if you don't resolve things through mediation, then you have to have a trial. And these are the cases that go to trial probably more like a higher percentage than any other type of case in family court. And the reason why is because there's very little room for compromise. You know, when you have one parent in Arizona and another parent, whether it's Ohio or Washington or New Jersey or Florida or even closer places like New Mexico or California, there's really no other option, but the judge has to um, declare one parent the winner and the other one the loser. So when both parents are saying they want to have the children with them primarily, especially when the kids are old enough to be in school, and they're saying that they want the children to live with them during the school year, and the other parent will get school breaks. There's really going to be a winner and a loser, and that's different from most cases in family court. Typically, in family court, when it comes to custody issues, most of the time, if you go to trial, neither parent gets exactly what they want, and there's the judge usually does a ruling that is kind of a compromise between what both sides want. But when you have out-of-state parents, then there's really no option. But one's going to be the winner, and the other one's going to feel like the loser. So anyway, these cases go to trial a lot because there's very little room for compromise. Now, typically, what you'll have is if one parent is going to be the primary residence, then the other parent is going to get the majority of school breaks. So that means the majority of summer, that means spring break, fall break, winter break. They're going to get a lot of that time as well to try to make up for the fact that they don't get to see them as frequently. You always want to make sure that you have court orders in place that allow, like if you're the non-primary parent, you always want to make sure that you have a court order that allows you to see the children if you travel to where they are, as long as there's adequate notice, of course. And you also want to make sure that you have appropriate orders for contact by phone or video as well. So those are important things to have in that. You also want to make sure you are very clear about how the travel arrangements are going to take place. Who's going to be responsible for travel and not only doing the travel, but the expense? Is it going to be shared, or is one party going to be responsible for it? You want to make sure all those things are clear as well. So anyway, that's kind of a summary of relocation cases in Arizona. And like I said, so these are some of the more difficult ones to do. It is very difficult when you're asking to move the children to a different location, the burden is on you to prove that it's going to be beneficial for the children. And essentially what you have to do to succeed is you have to show that the benefits of moving outweigh the detriment that would be caused to the other parent um, by the fact that they're moving away from them. And it's not really, I said that actually a little bit incorrectly. It's not the detriment to the other parent, even though there is a detriment to the other parent. It's the detriment to the children by not being around the other parents as frequently as they would have been if they were living closely. So you have to show that it's overall the benefits to the children moving outweigh the detriment to the children moving. So anyway, it sounds simple, but it can get pretty complicated. And there's a lot of different strategies you can use to try to improve your odds in winning those cases. Even though I said it's difficult to win, I've seen many relocations be approved. I even had a case once where the judge approved a relocation to a different country. So it is possible, but these are the kind of cases where you definitely want to have an attorney helping you if at all possible. That would be a big advantage in that situation. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to respond to any comments. And if you like the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so that you can get more in the future.